Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue with the historical figures and the dynasties. Last time I think I stopped at the Qing dynasty established. So Qing dynasty originally from the north, very northern part. So they invaded. The first capital they established is in the Liaoning province, currently the Xinyang city. So they stopped there. And then the first generation of the emperor, after they invade the mainland, passed away, and the second generation started take over the throne. There's some, of course, internal. There's some important emperors or the queen, and also the children grown up, and to take the throne. So after that, they continuously to further advanced to Beijing to take the mainland after the Li. If you recall, there's probably 40 days, some around there. This Zicheng Li was rebelling to the Ming dynasty, overthrew the Ming dynasty, and they took the Forbidden City in Beijing, but couldn't hold it because they probably thought that's the end. They just enjoy party every day for 40 days, and then at this time the Qing dynasty, the Qing people from that minority group just coming down from Shenyang to Beijing to take the mainland, establish the Qing dynasty. So in Qing dynasty, because of that culture is also minority, they kept their cultures in the palace or in the noble families. They have different color of the flags indicating the social status. I think it's eight colored, refer to the most high is yellow, and then red, blue probably, etc. etc. But majority of the common people from that group mingled or adapted to the Han culture again, just like the Yuan dynasty. So in terms of the writing, the language, the habit, and the culture, it's really keep the Han's nature. So in this Qing dynasty, there is some important emperors made contributions, and the countries grow stronger and prosperity. First one was KangXi and QianLong, probably you know them. After, I think KangXi started to build strong. KangXi was the I think the fourth generation. So after this fourth generation of the emperor, so after this KangXi and his grandson QianLong, it's really brought. He is the one brought the country really into the prosperity, and also very strong in the not just the country, in that local area, not just in Asia, but in the Western world. They all know that this China, and there's an emperor like this, and he had I think he had an English teacher from British or from other Western country, and so that is the beginning to open the door between the countries. And he built a very beautiful garden, and later on was burned down in 1848. So he is the one really very famous of emperor. He had many legends, very wise, and also some other emperors also did very well. At the same time, there are a lot of battlings in the higher powers, transition from inheritance, who is going to be next emperor. So worth to mention of this Qing dynasty, there's a empress, CiXi, probably you heard of that. I think he after she passed away, probably ended the Qing dynasty almost. Shortly after she passed away, because there's no grown up to take over throne, just the young Fuyi, the last emperor, very young, so took over the throne, but not last, and the Japanese invaded, and also some civil war start to break out. So this CiXi, who is this CiXi? She was a lady from a family, official's family, but the father was not successfully holding the position in the court or in the palace. So they was sent to the peripheral area, other province, provinces near Beijing, and she grew up with her father died early, so she grew up with mother and I think siblings. And because the emperor yearly went around the country to select a concubine, so this CiXi was selected to the palace as to serve the emperor. There's so many thousands, usually said 3,000 at least, but probably a little exaggeration. But there are a lot of ladies. How can she stand up? But she did. She just she had some unique part, very smart and political, very sensitive, and somehow she just managed to get the chance to see the emperor, and the emperor identified her as not a common female. So she gradually to rise up, and after her husband is kind of a little laid back, kind and soft. So she's the one who really helped her husband to rule. And later on, when her husband died, there's a big fight in terms of power. Who is going to take the power transition? Because she was not the real queen. She's the concubine behind the queen. There was a queen still left after the emperor died. So the queen, the former queen, is supposed to rule. But somehow this queen was also kind and nice and did not know how to rule, to take the scepter to rule the country. On the other hand, she is capable, but she has to use some plot. According to the legend, she has to use some plot to take the power by herself. Because if the queen's there, she cannot. So somehow, from the legend, she used some tricks and to trick the queen, trust her. So because after the previous emperor passed away, he left a written note said, "Do not give the power to this CiXi." So the queen held this to ruin, to rule the country, to control the palace and the court. But this CiXi knew that, so she tricked, and so eventually the queen trusted her and brought this piece of paper to her. "See, I'm going to burn it in front of you." So then CiXi knows there's nothing can limit her. So eventually she killed the queen and also other officials who were against her. So she stabilized the power for a long term. So this there's some other female emperors in the history, in Tang Dynasty, for example, and also Liu Ji in Han Dynasty I mentioned. But this CiXi is different from them. She really just craving for power. According to the legend or history, she couldn't ruin the country. So the country basically ruined under her control, not rule very well. So after she took the power shortly, she chose wrong people to serve the court to help her, and a lot of international force to invade the country, and also a lot of internal rebellions, never peaceful. But she lived quite a long time, and she had several sons, and but eventually she took the power. And at the same time, she always had an emperor. She always chose the emperor at a young age. So that's why when the country is not stable, probably one of the reasons the emperor is too young. So the power is kind of struggling in those behind. She's the one who behind the screen to rule the country. A lot of stories. She had a nephew, and she wanted that nephew to be an emperor. When the nephew was 6 years old, took with her from her sister. And she raised him up, but when the emperor grown up to be adult and have his own thought, his strategy to rule the country, and has different opinions from CiXi, so CiXi killed him. Well, it's just the history. Ironically, after this emperor died, and the next couple of days, and she died also. So and then the power transitioned to Yuan. Yuan. So this is kind of the modern history start from there. But anyway, so this Qing dynasty, after the Qing dynasty is almost 100 years, not 100 years, probably 40 years, half of century. But at another half of century, since 1848, the war never ceased from the international invasion, and at the beginning of this 20th century, there's domestic shaking plus international. So almost about 100 years peaceful, the nation going through this, went through this period of time, and then until 1949, the country started to establish. So I'm going to stop here, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.